Welcome to Chaos Podcast. I am your host, Terry Lynn. I am a virtual assistant, bookkeeper, and international business strategist. I love leveling up, creating strategies, and thinking outside of the box, especially with serial entrepreneurs because we are impacting the world with new innovations, community collaboration, and global technology. We will discuss strategies that stifle mental chaos so that you can create habits and outstanding success. Right here on Chaos. Hey, Tamara.
Hello.
I am getting a message from LinkedIn. So I'm telling to go live. We'll remove it. 1 second. You know, there's always a little something going on.
Mm-hmm.
As long as we're here.
Yes, we are. It shows me that we're live on Facebook.
We are live on Facebook. Ms. Hunter.
Yes.
Our service hero who's identifying a whole world of service heroes. Thank you. We need to know that not only that there are heroes, that we can also be a service hero. So few of us identify like that. And for you to bring it to us, it really gives us a lot of reward and purpose in life. So we're honored.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Carolyn. I love what you're doing. I really do, and thank you for inviting me on your platform.
Oh, yeah.
I so appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Okay. Tamara L. Hunter is the president and co-founder of a 501c3 nonprofit, Chemo Buddies for Life, that is serving those affected by cancer throughout the world. Wow. She was of the There we are.
Problems.
It's fine.
Okay, let's see if I can do it. You froze on my screen, and so I couldn't hear. So
Mine also.
It's doing it this way. So hopefully, let me plug you back in here. All right, you're live again for me. So this is wonderful, Carolyn.
We were talking about the Service Hero Show, which highlights service hero and service concepts daily, thus inspiring others to see that they also have a service hero inside. Yay! When I read that, I was like, yay!
Well, thank you. And I'm sorry that, one of the things that you were asking about, and oftentimes what I have now found is that sometimes when we're live, we can have some technical difficulties. And there, when you were reading, you froze up for me. And so if I interrupted you, I want to apologize.
Oh, no worries. We are not in a perfect world. We are perfect in our imperfections. And you, my dear, teach us acceptance of all that we are, just the way we are. So, interruptions, we might have another one or two, but we're going to keep this moving and we're going to stay in it just like we do life.
I love it.
Tell us about Chemo Buddies. I'm so excited.
Thank you for asking. Chemo Buddies for Life is truly now it's my passion and purpose. And I can say that because I am a survivor of cancer, and I've heard those three words that too many have. You know, in fact, I'm sure if I asked two questions to your audience and asked them to raise their hand, I'm sure every one of them would. And the first question would be, is it all right if I ask two questions, Terry?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, I'm going to
Make
ask.
yourself at home. Make yourself at home.
Okay, let's do this. Okay, so have you or anyone you know ever heard these three words? You have cancer. If so, raise your hand, just say yes, yeah. And then the second question for any of you that may not be raising your hand yet is, do you know someone that knows someone that's heard those three words? Raise your hand. And I bet you anything that your audience, everyone, just like every single stage that I'm ever on, anytime I'm in front of a room and I ask them to stand, I then look around and
Wow.
I have them look around, and all of them are standing. And when I experienced my cancer, I'm one of 5 people in 4 generations, all through one line, that have experienced it. And I was lucky enough to have an actual buddy. And there's a whole sequence to how that happened. However, when we were going through our journey together, our doctors and our nurses noticed something unique and different. And they really let me know that it was almost like unfair for us to have this and others not to. And this was over 5 years ago. And they convinced me over time that I needed to take a serious look at this. And when I did, and when it really got into my soul that people can actually, that there can be healing through connection. That's what we say,
Yes.
healing through connections.
Yes.
And through love, the frequency of it,
Yes.
and so much more. That what would someone do to have just a few more moments with someone that they love? Well, I was saved, that I believe now, to help others to be able to find humor, hope, heart, hugs, and a lot of love. And we do in our community, and we're building it throughout the world.
Thank you. Thank you. Tell us what the name of your community is.
The name is Chemo Buddies for Life. And I say the name and then I explain it.
Okay, good.
Because the name is after the 2 original buddies, of which I'm one of them. And I met my original buddy in a chemotherapy room. Yes, I went traditional, but not everybody does. And they are not required to be in our community. And so we let people know that our name does not define us, just like cancer doesn't define us. We named it a while ago after the 2 buddies, and
from the original.
Right. And so now we're serving those people that are whatever treatment anyone decides to go for.
Nice.
Traditional, alternative, adjunctive. It doesn't matter.
Nice.
Our stand is have a buddy. Be a part of a community.
Have some love.
Exactly. Share in the love.
Have
Yes.
some love. That is so wonderful. And is this a Facebook group?
It's actually bigger than a Facebook group. We started on Facebook. The very first day was on October the 1st, 2017.
Wow.
Right after midnight, because my cancer was breast cancer, and that's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And my original buddy was still with me, and we were co-partnering and building this. And then it became really, really big to do, and she needed to step back for her own purposes and her own health. And I just continued straight forward. And it is now, we're on all social media. We have built a beta site that is about to become a real website. We are growing it. So
Wow.
think of a matching site, like a dating matching site that comes to cancer.
Oh my goodness.
That's what we built.
That is
And
fantastic.
I have to a huge shout out because our whole nonprofit is all volunteer ran. So whenever anybody helps us out, it is going straight to our buddies. And that's what we call them, that we're buddies. And our volunteer, Tony Eminetti, I actually tried building this site a couple times and crashed and burned it. And yes, I will say, yes, totally guilty. And I knew someone would come. I knew someone
Yeah.
would, and he did.
Yeah.
And this thing is amazing. So we're almost through the beta stage, almost there.
But definitely let me know so I can announce it to the audience when it happens.
Excellent.
Because so many people out here need it. So many people.
Yes.
And, people that have been in my life for years and years and years have been in and out of chemo, survivor, testing back in and out, and, lost a couple of people, but all in all, the largest amount of individuals I know are in survival.
Well, that is the good news. That is the good news.
That
is. And
is.
I will say that we do have something right now, today, that even today, Monday, June the 22nd, 2020, that we will be having what we call our chat every single night. We have it. It's 5 o'clock in the evening Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern. And it is in a Facebook closed group for now. And tonight is Magic Monday, one of our favorites. And it's always different hosts, but it's not a show. It is a chat. And we call it a chat is because that our community comes together and they can, if they need to talk, they bring it up. And we have the leaders or the hosts of the chat. They'll talk with the buddies, and there is so much love in this community. Anybody that comes in, they end up staying if they're a guest to the chat because it's such a unique group. And when the worldwide pandemic took place and we had so many people feeling isolated and alone, well, we actually opened our doors up to those that needed us for that reason also, because our community is one that, when we're going through treatment, we need to be careful. And so we are told to self-isolate and to be,
Oh, yeah,
aware,
definitely. Oh,
right?
definitely.
Yeah. But with this, we're not isolated.
And what group is this? What private group is this?
You go to the fan page, which is Chemo Buddies, the number 4 life.
Okay.
And then you go to what groups, and then you go to Chemo Buddies for Life community.
Okay.
And then you ask to join. And we ask people to ask to join because we're going to make them know that this is a safe environment. Yes. And we do have a few rules, and anything that takes place there stays there, kind of like we say, like Vegas,
Right. That's to be expected. That's definitely to be expected. We've got a couple of folks joining us. Hi, Helen, and there's Vismaya. There's Ebony, that's my daughter, and little Ms. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for attending. And thank you all for spreading the wonderful news of Chemo Buddies for Life with Tamara. Okay, I know how you got into this. How do you stay?
Oh, it's, you have to, and it's interesting that you asked that question, because this is something that actually a lot of people that I know, they're like, I have a passion and a purpose, and I want to go out and change the world. And I think, okay, you got to really be ready for this, because this will overcome, and it will take over your life to build something like this. And It has, and I am staying because I have a huge why. And my why is that when I said 5 people, 4 generations, my mother, when I was going through treatment, I had just started treatment at the beginning of December, and that year it was a particularly bad cold and flu and pneumonia season. And my mom, who lived, in fact, I filmed in the room where she was. She was living with me, and I'm in her casita. She got pneumonia, and it was really, really bad. And I was put in isolation in my own home. No one was allowed in
Right. That's
because
right.
it was just really too dangerous. And she would not go to the hospital, my mom. She was a stubborn little lady. And, and she was threatened to get picked up out of bed and be taken there. And she did make it into the hospital. And when she was there, she coded. Well, the long and short of it is that she had 27 major surgeries. She had her back completely, she had her back shattered in 6 vertebrae in a car accident 34 years before. And so her back had been completely fused and rods and all sorts of stuff. Well, when she coded, they brought her back and they broke her ribs. And we didn't know at that time, right? We didn't know at that time that she had cancer. And she didn't just have cancer, she had multiple myeloma, which is bone marrow cancer. Well, bone marrow cancer, when she was so sick, and because of all the different surgeries, she had to have an emergency surgery, and she was given superbugs in her urinary tract, which then made her mind go crazy. So she became a screamer with MRSA and 3 other superbugs. And I was going through active chemotherapy.
Oh my goodness. Tamara.
So when they no longer would keep her at the hospital, we, of course, at my place could not bring her back because I was going through active chemotherapy. And my daughter, who was a cancer survivor, her levels were really low, and we didn't know if she was reoccurring. So we had to have her go somewhere. And they were not nice to her, and they were everything but nice to her. And they would call me, and I would lose my voice when I was going through my chemotherapy because I got chemosores on my vocal cords. So they would call me, and they expected me to do something about this, and they like go and sit with her and stop her and everything. And I'm thinking, my mom was genius. She was a very intelligent, professional woman. And here's this woman that has become a screamer and was in incredible pain. And there was nothing I could do about it. Nothing I could do about it. And
you're giving me chills. Oh my God, my heart is just breaking.
So,
oh,
what I was able to do, this was in January that happened. Not until November was I able to bring her home, and it took everything for me to get her home. Yeah. And I brought her home in hospice, and I had to agree to be wearing gloves, and I was still in treatment, though I was not in my active chemotherapy treatment, but I was with one of my immunotherapies. So I was still in treatment, and I was still having surgeries. And my daughter was here too, and she was one. We still were testing to see what was going on with her, and we became her main caretakers.
Wow!
And my mom looked at me before she passed, and she asked me why I wasn't holding her hand with my hand. I had a glove on, and it broke my heart to say, I couldn't say, well, I can't hold your hand because you have superbugs, and I am still not 100% out of the woods myself and everything. And so she passed 10 days after we brought her home, and every single day I wake up knowing that there's someone out there that was like my mom, that was afraid that they may not know that they had cancer. She didn't know she had cancer until just very few days before she died.
Right.
We didn't know. We knew
Right.
that there was something wrong. We didn't know she had cancer. And my quest is to see that we build this so solid that anyone throughout the world in the middle of the night that's crying out like my mom would will have a buddy, that they can have a community. And you see, the thing about it is we are building it that they can do it on their phone, that
That
there
is
are
so
more people
wonderful.
throughout the world that have the access to a cell phone, a smartphone, than they even do clean water.
Right.
And so if someone needs us anywhere in the world, and so I I'm sure going to be asking about it, but we are building this globally, globally. And I will not stop because every single day I think about my mom.
So your why is embedded in your heart.
Oh, huge,
It's
huge.
embedded. I bet you live it, think about it, breathe it every single day, most moments of every day.
Yeah, and you know what? My mom had red hair, and this was a woman that she would be in her designer suits and her makeup. I don't even wear makeup really, and she would wear makeup to the ninth degree, nth degree, and always had her nails perfectly coiffed and everything. And she was in the trucking industry yet, and she was in management. So she would be wearing her high heel shoes to the terminal or something. But if she had to go out on the floor, yeah, she put her steel toe shoes on. But then
Yeah.
as soon as she was outside that door again, back on
Get
with the
back on
high
her
heel,
shoes.
right? So I think of now my mom in her shiny, amazing, outgoing personality and the laughter and love of life, saying yes, being a cheerleader and saying yes, you can do this. We can
So
do
we
this.
now know where Tamara gets all of her loveliness. You make me want to do dancing hands. Yes. Now we know where you get that from. That spark. That I
Yeah.
mean, just your energy make people just want to smile. That is so excellent. And I'm glad that you got it from your mom.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, and my mom, even though she wouldn't admit it, okay, you want to hear something funny? Okay, this is not funny, but it is because it's Chemo Buddy humor. Okay, is that
Okay,
my
Chemo Buddy
mom?
humor.
Okay, so my mom really got hers from her mother, though she never wanted to agree on that one. So as she's starting to pass, right, and we're doing the whole thing, and she's excited because she gets to see her husband who had passed, Ronnie, who was her high school sweetheart, and then her
Oh,
father, who was
wow.
like her hero, my hero, and so I'm like, yeah, you get to go and see, Ronnie and Grandpa and your mom, and she's like, I'm excited about the two, but I don't know that I want to see my mom. And I'm like, oh, that is so funny. And that's where, sometimes,
That's where she is. That's who she is.
you can be so much alike, because my grandmother, she grew up during the Depression, and she would be in her pants and her skates, and a woman, and during that period of time. And my mom, she was named, born around World War II, and yet a real unique name spelled. Her name was Karen, but it was spelled Kaaren. So, against all, yeah, like,
Never
okay,
heard of that one.
yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm laughing and sharing this, because anybody right now, and I really believe that anybody that has it in their heart that they want to make a difference, they can. and to figure it out what's going to make sense for them. And
Right.
I grew up in a family, and the matriarchs and the women in the family, which really I respect this, they didn't let the social norms, they didn't let any of those kind of things, it was like, okay, my mom, she was in management in trucking. I mean, 18 wheelers. We're talking like,
You better go, Mom.
yeah, the trucking industry. And
You better go, Mom.
yeah. So, and so this is where, when I started this, and people are like, how do you think you're going to even do this? When they found out that I thought you had to buy a hashtag to put a hashtag, I had no clue. Really, I didn't even do social media.
I love it.
And so people are like, how did you really believe that you could do this? And I'm like, because I
Wonderfully well.
believe, right, I believe that it was a download, and that I wouldn't be left alone, and that
Okay.
things would be figured out. And it's like, okay,
now you have a whole world of angels.
Absolutely.
Sharing blessings amongst one another.
Yes, absolutely. We actually called them our winged buddies, our buddies with wings.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so fabulous. Wow. That's a lot. I am just so grateful that, you had the heart to even, take somebody's advice and expand on just a statement to make a worldwide impact for individuals who so desperately need it. Desperately. I have actually sat with someone who passed of cancer, and they said they had ulcers for years and years and years. And from what I recall, he went into the hospital on Friday. And when he went in the hospital, they were like, gather the family.
Mm-hmm.
And from Friday to Sunday, because he passed on Sunday, just like they said, that's how bad it was. But from Friday to Sunday, he was giving instructions to all his family, everybody. And they were like, no, no. And he was like, listen. He was giving instructions. And then on Sunday, he just rested. But the pain made the tears stream down a grown man's face with no sound. It was one of the most heartbreaking things I had ever experienced. No painful sounds at all. And then he passed. But just that moment, it wasn't even very long. But he knew his time was here, and I'm getting all choked up. Tamara, you making me cry.
and may I say, Terry Lynn, that you are one of our support buddies. That we have a loving community for those people that have been touched as a support person. That it doesn't have to be that they were your significant other or child or a parent, or it can be that they impacted you like this. And we embrace people, and there is so much healing that is taking place, Terry Lynn. So much.
Yeah, because I've got many, many, many friends who have survived. But my son will be 47 this year.
Oh, no way.
And he was 2 when this happened. So we're talking 45 years of impact.
Right,
from that one moment. I can't even imagine being a buddy and, but oh my God, to have a buddy going through that.
Yeah.
I just really can't say enough. I don't have the vocabulary. Thank you. I just was like, thank you. Oh my gosh.
It right there. Your heart is saying it, and it's one buddy at a time.
Yeah.
because it takes us all to build this. We're still, we're still at the beginning of it, and so we're, and it is a volunteer based organization, and so it takes us all to be doing this. But I will tell you this, that the people that are coming, they're feeling led to it, they're feeling called to it, and they are. And the miraculous thing, because the way that we see it within our organization and our family, we call our community, really we're like a family, is that we are all growing. And so the volunteers are growing in skills and whatever it is that they want to be doing, we find a way for them to win. And then the buddies, and they're growing, and they're growing together, and they're actually then volunteering the buddies,
That is so great. It's just going to keep going. It's just going to keep
exactly.
going. It's
Exactly.
always going to be the beginning
Yeah.
for someone.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
always going to be another beginning, and another beginning, and another beginning, and another beginning, and another beginning. And that's the circular rotation of life, of the world, of the blessings, of the spirit, is that, and I know that, excuse me, trying to get myself together here. I know that
it's okay.
I brought my kids up volunteering. And when my kids go through something, I say, volunteer. Because you need to know that this little stuff you're going through is nothing compared to what somebody else is going through. And you can be a blessing to them, and you will get heart's reward from that. And this other stuff won't, you can't do a little this, or you can't do a little activity. And so you're, or everything doesn't work just the way you want to. So what? You got food in your mouth, you got health, you got a roof over you, got support family, your kids are doing great. Like, so what? Because there are people that you experience that are happy, even in their chaos.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Can I just tell you? Absolutely. And I could just tell you story after story after story. It is incredible. Truly.
I want to write the book. I want to write the book.
It is incredible. I will tell you, it is incredible. And it is so inspiring. I am inspired by these amazing people that I call buddies, that I call family. Right. Because the generosity of their spirits, and the way that they just are there for each other, showing up. I mean, for Father's Day, it hit on game night. And so what we did was I got to play production person, because our production person for that chat was out. And so our host of the chat came up with, name that dad. So then we put it out to the buddies, and the buddies sent in pictures of their dads, right? And so then that dad's picture came up, and so then we were trying to figure out which buddy did that dad belong to, and then that buddy would tell us about their dad. And so we got to know about them that much more. We got to find out about their fathers. We, maybe what did they like to do? What was their fondest memory? Whatever it may be, and oh my, those are the bonding experiences. Yes. And then we're there with each other joking, because then, it was like one of our buddies out of Canada, she actually was like, okay, we don't have any prizes set up. We need prizes for tonight. So she volunteered a prize, right? And so then, and then at the end, she was the one that won the prize. She guessed the most, so she's like, okay, I'm going to donate it back. And so then she does a number 1 through 10. And at the very same time, 2 of the buddies came in with the same number, right at the same moment. And so what'd she do, in the generosity of the spirit that is there, and the love that we share, she's like, oh, no worries, 2 prizes. because the two were like, oh, I'll give it to this one. And that you saw that kind of generosity going on. And that I know is a little thing. And yet
it's
for
huge.
someone that is, maybe missing being able to go out, maybe wanting to spend time with loved ones and knowing that they're that they can do it in the safety of and they don't have to be seen. We do that on purpose. They can come in. Every Friday night we invite for TGIF Friday, we invite the buddies to come on and introduce themselves if they want to come on camera. Some will call in and we'll hear their voice. It's whatever their choice is, whatever they're comfortable with.
Right.
Yeah, but they look forward to it. And so now we actually have one of our buddies, a couple of them that have kind of grown up through the ranks now, that they are starting to host chats too, that they've gotten feeling comfortable and, kind of growing up through. And so then now they're serving the community in that way.
Now, I challenge all the listeners, whether you're here right now, or you're hearing the replay, or you're hearing it. This is going on 18 podcast directories. Whether you're hearing it on a podcast, I challenge you to be a part of this. One way or another, be a part of this, because I certainly am. You already know you got me.
Yeah. We're bringing in. That's what's happening.
I challenge all the listeners to become a part of this, because there will never be more than enough in this situation.
Right.
There'll never be.
No.
Especially when you start feeling down, or you start feeling out, or you start feeling like you just don't think you can make it another day. Because I have been famous for that over the years, where I just can't make it another day. Contact Tamara on Facebook and say, how can I help? Heard your podcast with Terry Lynn. How can I help? I challenge you.
I love it.
Now, I don't know if you're ready for all this downpour.
Yeah, bring them on, because
I know you'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get our team involved too, because we've got amazing ambassadors and volunteers. In fact, anybody that comes and volunteers with us, I will tell you this is what I hear over and over and over. They're amazed at the quality and the amazing people, the heart-centered, purpose-driven, skilled individuals that have come to join us and felt called to serve. And some serve, 20, 30, 40 hours in a week at times. I mean, depending on what our needs are and everything, and what their skill level is, sometimes it has been that much. And they gladly do it. And also, this is what is so heartwarming for myself, is that those that are serving, many of them are like, I came to serve, and yet I was served so much more.
Always.
I was given so much more of a blessing. I was given so much more love. I had so many ahas. For example, we have one of our volunteers that she had a very dear friend that she grew up with that had passed of cancer when they were in their late teens, early 20s. And she's now has a family and such. And she loved to do art. She's very, artistic minded and stuff. But she had not picked up a paintbrush since her friend had passed. She had not really thought about it until she was a volunteer working with us. And at first it was, okay, I'll do a little bit. And then she started doing more and then doing more. And now a lot. And she said that all of a sudden she felt inspired to get canvas out and the paintbrush and the paints. And she turned on the music, and through the night she painted, and not even thinking about what she was doing. It just came. And it was in the Chemo Buddies colors, and it was a healing process for her. Yeah. And and it's
She was
still,
connecting. She was connecting.
it was the very first time, and now she is painting and healing through art. And this is decades later, you know, and she didn't realize that she had not completely had that full alignment and healing.
Yeah.
And you know, we all have things, and there's still stuff, but that was huge, a huge breakthrough, and so many more, you know, and that is where, when you put out the call for help, that I can say it with like my huge heart saying, okay, yeah, come, because I know if you do, you're going to be very well served. You're going to be
Yep.
helping those that need you right now. They need you right now. However,
Right.
I know you're going
Yep.
to get a lot more out of
Yep.
it, a lot more.
All the
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
All the time. That's the wonderful part about volunteerism that people don't know is the reward, the immediate reward that you don't expect,
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
All right, Tamara. You know, we could do this all day.
I'm game. Like
We
I
could
told
do
you,
this
we did a 36-hour give-a-thon for Giving Tuesday this last year.
36
Yeah,
hours.
36 hours. It was to bring, it was right after I had won the Global Next Impactor, and I won these coaches, and
Congratulations on that.
thank you. And it was, I ran on the platform of Chemo Buddies, but I ran under my name because, you know, we all have our life experiences. And
Right.
so right afterwards, they're like, okay, so you're going to take a break? I'm like, not a minute. We don't have time for a break. I got to get going because I'm behind the 8 ball for the give-a-thon, because we had done a give-a-thon the year before. We called it a telethon. We called it Service Heroes Telethon, benefiting Chemo Buddies. This year, Chemo Buddies had a big enough brand that we could do it under its own brand, and so we had so many of the impactors that were, if you will, running. They didn't run against me. We were running against time, is really
Right.
what it was, right?
Right.
But many of the impactors joined, the coaches, and we put on the 36 hours, and we had two goals: to raise funds and to create buddies.
Yeah, build more community.
Yeah, yeah,
Can
yeah.
I change the subject for a quick second?
Sure, sure.
You know, we've got a lot of cancer going on, and we have had a lot of cancer going on for a lot of years. Can you give us an overview of the advancements they're making?
You know, that's a great question, and thank you for asking it. The thing that I do, my background to answer it is, I was a recruiter, a headhunter for 18 years. And so when I put together my board and leadership, I found people that were at the top of their fields. My vice president, her name is Misty Lane. She is one of those, and she's my medical person. And she is nuclear medicine. She does the PET scans and some of these other scans. She's been on the front lines, even with COVID and everything. And so every Wednesday night within our chat, we've been doing what's called What's Up Wednesday, and we've been doing medical updates. Now, our
Oh,
medical updates have been primarily for our buddies to get through this period of time, you know, because we have quite a few at different stages, and
yeah.
some that were in active treatment, and you know, and so it was a matter of whatever their oncologist decided to continue doing through a very difficult time, you know, in the medical world. um, she is the one that educates us, and we really are a very solidly ran nonprofit 501c3, in that we have, um, like, she gets all of her medical information from the very, very most respected, credible sources, and brings them to us. And I will share with the fact that I am not the medical person. I am, you know, the person that has experienced it for myself and for family members. And I am running a global nonprofit that is supporting people that are affected by cancer. The fact that we have stated that we are open-minded to treatment, whatever is the best for the patient that they're supporting, if it's a support buddy or for the patient buddy, we want them to feel the very best. So we do reach out to find out different options or things, but we don't really go there too very much because it's a personal choice for our buddies. I am optimistic personally. I can speak for myself as Tamara L. Hunter, patient. I've heard those words from my grandfather, my mother, my brother, myself, and my daughter, and then multiple other family members and extended friends. And so, it's something I've lived with the majority of my life, one way or another. And what I have seen and what I know is that the type of cancer I had I had it anywhere from 7 to 12 years before, I most likely would not be here today.
Okay.
Because of the advancements. And I did choose chemotherapy. However, my chemo cocktail is what they called it, was 2 immunotherapy drugs and 2 chemotherapy drugs. So I had 4 different, in my cocktail, and I had that 6 times. And it was the immunotherapy drugs for my particular DNA.
Yeah, for yours. Okay.
And so what I would say is anybody that's facing cancer right now, one of the best things you can do is get that pathology report drilled down to the cellular level. Make sure that your doctors, if you, like me, breast cancer, okay, breast cancer, but then that was just the overarching, that's way up here. We went down to the cellular level of what was happening inside of my body. So then we could make the best choices for my particular treatment.
They can do that. They can do that deep dive testing.
Yes, they can. And you have every right as a patient to ask your oncologist to get that information.
Does it matter what stage you're in?
Pardon?
Does it matter what stage you're in that they can or cannot do that?
No. They should be, no, they need to know the cellular makeup of your cancer. Now, whatever stage you're in, that might have something to do with the way that they'll decide to treat it.
Right. Now, you mentioned because, if you haven't had cancer, you're not really apprised of different options. And you have mentioned like 3 different options. You said chemo, and then what are the other 2?
Okay, so traditional is what we think of when we think of cancer. Chemo, radiation, surgery, the standard of care. It is our medical standard of care is what traditional really is.
Okay. So we got the definition to traditional.
Right.
We're getting there, y'all. We're getting there.
Okay, so alternative would be exactly 180 from that. Alternative would be you go out of maybe the country. People here, you go maybe down to, another country. They may have different options. You may believe that that's going to be the very best for you.
Right.
And it may have everything to do with it. There's all sorts of different types of alternative methods out there. And then there's adjunctive. There is a combination of both. And where you have, maybe you're doing some traditional, you're going with the standard of care, the U.S. standard of care and the global standard of care, because they have a standard. And you may also do something like, work with your doctor, like acupressure, acupuncture, massage therapy, different types of things that
some natural paths.
Possibly, and that's where you need to really talk with your doctors, because this is what I do know because of I had a very progressive thinking type of a group that worked within the standard of care. However, they were very open-minded, and they were
That's good.
they were very collaborative. So I would come with different, I always asked the questions of, I trusted my medical team completely, 100%, 100%. And you've got to
That's
trust it.
important.
You
That's
do.
important.
And I knew without a shadow of a doubt I was going to be fine. I knew it. I knew it. There
That's
was
so
no doubt in
wonderful.
my mind. Just had to get there, and we were already there. I just had to figure out what road we were on, that we were going to be there on.
Yeah.
And so I was educated in that there were some things that would actually work against you. Think intuitively they might work for you, but they might actually counteract and null and void some of the medicine that could actually help
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
So you need to know, you need to
Yeah.
be educated. And 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 if you don't feel in alignment with your medical team right now, you can look at whatever is happening anytime anything big is happening, and you can see it for whatever you want to see it for.
Right.
I choose to see the good. I
Right.
choose to see that there is a
Optimistic.
lot of, a pivoting that's taking place, which is opening up options for us to have, telemedicine and contacting our doctors, and maybe even working with doctors that maybe are not even in your backyard now, that
Right.
maybe you can telemedicine. And so if
Yeah.
you're not feeling that connection with your doctors, then you know you have every
You
right.
have choices. You have
Yeah,
options and you have choices.
yeah,
And with the global access, we have so much information
yeah,
that you can always, dig up information, and if you have resources you can trust, you can ask them. I tell my kids all the time, ask. Ask, ask, ask. Don't be afraid to ask. People will say things to you if it doesn't make sense. Ask them.
yeah,
Ask them. I had a friend tell me that it's better to be quiet than to ask a dumb question. I said, you need to change your mind, girlfriend.
yeah,
You
yeah,
need to
yeah.
change your mind, because if I don't
Mhm.
understand, or if I'm curious, and sometimes I intimidate people, I have to apologize and let them know I'm just a sponge. I'm an educational sponge,
Yeah, you and me
and
both.
I'm
You and me
just
both.
curious.
Let me just say this, is that every single day I am so optimistic. I am that much more optimistic that there are going to be that many more of us surviving this. I have no doubt in my mind that at some time our nonprofit will be supporting the people that once, the family members and the generational issues that came from possibly generations ago, their family members having cancer, but they don't have it anymore because there's not a world with cancer any longer.
Ooh,
But we are
girl,
there. We are
yes,
there to support them, to help shift
yes,
and help to bring back to health
yes.
those family lines.
Oh
So
my gosh,
I have
yes,
no doubt in my mind that that will happen. However, with that said, our mission within this nonprofit, because there are so many good ones that are out there
yes,
raising the
they
funds
are.
to make that happen, we needed one that was just totally about the people. And that's all
Yeah,
we are. We are about the people. We are
and we
about
thank you. We thank you.
them.
I just can't thank you enough. Okay. Every episode has a listening gift. So we'll talk about what your listening gift will be for our audience later. We're not going to get another subject because we got to go. I love you.
I love you too. And welcome to the Buddies. Yes, yes, a lot of fun.
Have a great evening.
Thank you, you too. Thank you for your time.
I want to thank you for listening, because this podcast is for you. And don't forget to get your listening gift. You can go to listeninggift.com. That's LISTENING gift.com. Compliments and constructive criticism are welcome. If there is anything you would like me to talk about, just hit me up. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Coach Terry Lynn. That is Coach T as in Tom, ERRILYNN. And remember, create habits and outstanding success with us right here on Chaos.